Welcome, 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 and thank you for joining us on another episode of today's Electrical Estimating. I'm your co-host, Chris Trommer, and as always, I'm joined by our other co-host, Sal Huerta. So, Sal, today is a continuation of last week's episode where we were speaking with Keith Peck from Electric Smarts. In that first conversation, we talked about why manufacturers should be paying attention to the estimating environment, what benefits it provides to them, and how they can start moving into this space and taking advantage of it. I think the conversation today, leans more towards the return on the investment, because obviously whenever you're going to do something, you're hoping for a return. Marketing, you get either more leads or views or clicks. Sales, obviously you want more sales. So, I think what needs to be clear is currently with this space, it's more of an opportunity ROI, because there is no, as Keith will put it, a connection from bid to sale that can be shown at this point, and he'll go into more detail about it. But I think even the chance of having an opportunity ROI, as we talked about in last week's episode, just having your products in the database is providing you an opportunity to be included in these project bids from the get-go.
Absolutely. That's the being a part of the game scenario. You'd rather be a part of where everything's happening versus on the outside, hoping that somebody finds your website or finds your PDF and puts this, manually types of stuff in there. So, having your products there creates that one-to-one scenario where now I see the item and I put it on my bid. So that's where the opportunity comes from being a part of that whole process.
Because if they're not getting their products in there, I mean, then they're waiting for the contractor to do it on their own, either going out and finding the information on a website and then manually inputting it, or going to the smart ECAT and selecting items and putting it in. But both those ways are time consuming. So for the manufacturer, getting their products in there really assures them that they're there and they're not just hoping that a contractor goes and finds them.
Yes, because anytime you create a space, so to speak, in your regular workflow that stops you, and then you have to go and research or do things and then come back to it, it's just, time that's being wasted on the estimate. So you want to have the ability of having things right in front of the customer. So that way they have the ability of looking them up or checking them out real quick in front of you and then add it into the job.
And something Keith will talk about as well is our BidAdvantage program, especially the swap assist, which I think is a great thing for manufacturers, because as we talked about in the past, for them, yes, get into that engineering program, then get your products into the estimating database. But this would be like the third stopgap, I guess I would say, for them, because with swap assist, if contractor selects competitor A, sends it over to the distributor, they don't carry that. Well, NetPricer will take a look at it utilizing swap assist to then choose one of our partners' products that meets the same specifications and swap it in and return it to the contractor. So it's giving them more opportunity at a place where they didn't know they had the opportunity to be in this, since they were not originally included in the project bid, and walking away now on that project bid with the pricing returned to the contractor.
So as I mentioned earlier, on the opportunity side, that's a one-to-one. You put your item in there, the customer finds it, and then puts it into their job. With what you're talking about, now we're talking about a one-to-many scenario. He looks like you mentioned for manufacturer C, but that distributor stocks manufacturer A. The typical scenario comes back and just gives the customer a zero. Now, using a service like ours, we're synchronizing the distributor's database to that contractor's estimating package. Now it comes out, doesn't find manufacturer C, but sees that that distributor stocks manufacturer A, flags it in the system for them, by colors or so forth, and then shows them the price for that distributor. So now you've actually been able to get that manufacturer's data or information and pricing into that estimate, whereas before it would have come back as a zero.
All right. Well, let's not waste any more of their time. Let them jump into this conversation and get even more insight from Keith on these particular items. And we'll catch up next time. We talked earlier before about information that manufacturers should be aware of, and answering the blunt question of why the estimating environment even matters. I mean, I guess one of the last questions I want to ask you, and one of the questions I get asked is, what's my ROI and investment into this space? What can they expect as like a return on their investment? Because obviously we've talked about it. This isn't something that you can quantifiably see from getting your products into a sales point. There's nothing right now tying that all together for me to say, oh, I was in this bid, now I'm in this sale, and then it just got bought. Looking at what's available to them right now, what they can get out of this, what is their return on their investment from even stepping a toe into this space?
Well, as you said, this is not the Amazon model where you put an ad and there's a click tracer back to the cash register and you cash out. That said, I think that you can take an ROI. I think the best one is our BidAdvantage platform, where manufacturers are seeing that the amount of bid activity that we've swapped in, where we've created an opportunity, at least. It's an opportunity ROI. I will give it that. And again, you'll have to follow that through, with your own sales, which you could be able to actually see perhaps on a distributor level. Because again, we do provide information at a distributor level in terms of the net price or activity. But when we are physically looking at a request from one of your competitors that we can't return a price for, because again, the line card they're going against for a particular distributor doesn't include it, and we're swapping in your product to the tune of $500,000, $2 million a year, some cases a lot higher. So that's real opportunity gain there, that if 2% of it results in an increased sale, you've more than paid 10 times, 100 times over sometimes, whatever the partnership cost is in participating with us. So, that's really what we have for an ROI today. We do have sites on, helping the industry with the purchasing platform that, in the future, may be able to complete that loop, a la Amazon, where we could actually say, hey, here's where, your competitor was, we swapped you in, and at a contractor to distributor relationship, we saw they bought the product. So I'd love to be there today. We're working towards that, but there's plenty of gained opportunity ROI in what we're doing already.